Welcome to late IHP Show with your very own 5D mystic and functional inner child adult. So our stories continue with our paid and free subscribers and those who do spiritual personal growth, and therefore you also do emotional mastery, resiliency, so you know how to appreciate God's wonders. It starts with neuroception and your body in connection with a growth mindset. So that's why love has never been destroyed, because you can't destroy it. It's my oxytocin gene hormone. And integrity, virtue, you have the love ethic and the virtue muscle. And I have the emotional invincibility muscle, and that's because of a deep connection with all my child parts. And I'm a whole human being who's accepting that I can be cricket. So that's why spiritual personal growth, you deepen connection to self, but that's because of the inner growth mindset that you will all be able to join in on for our paid subscribers on Spotify. The link below. And for those who know of the 3 main modules on the website for the inner growth mindset program, and it's dealing with unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds from within you while going with the flow. So going with the flow is really fun, and I'm going to let you know that those who have structural dissociation, they don't know this, and the 43D, that's why they continue to think there's only 144,000 people, because they essentially stay in the adaptive child part. But we don't need all people to become love, because you can't make them go to therapy with Patrick Tian. In fact, he's trying really hard to say, look, Boca Raton won't heal your inner child. And I'm like, yes, I tell them, Patrick, but they keep coming to me for self-help, personal development, and spiritual growth with Reiki and Akashic record readings and tarot. There are plenty of people who will simply look for guidance, but then they repeat their unfinished business. So it's not a bad thing, because their 0 to 8-year-old is living out what their 0-year-old lived. It's just they're grown up. So when we meet emotionally immature people, we know how to handle them always, because handling is what you do when you have a child in front of you. And then you take seriously, there's no Lucifer, so please stop being insulting. If you're one of those people who thinks there's a Lucifer, I'm a mystic again. I told somebody, look, the neuroscientists prove it. Ha ha ha, everyone has something to believe in. I'm like, look, I know that I said the flat earthers, they're doing a great job at trying to continue to be creative, but we know the earth is round, even though we don't make fun of them that way, because we need people to be curious and to move beyond, those rigid yesterday's news, because adolescent essence, anyone. So those of us who care about what we do, we will pursue a depth of relationship with ourselves, and that's because we're in a body and connection. So again, neuroception. If your body is safe, that's great. It means you're your own safe haven, so the mindset works, because you are working that virtue muscle, but you're also working your embodied brain muscle and your prefrontal. And that's why we don't actually take things personally. But I know which one of my brothers and sisters out there, and in general, choose to not heal, and that's their business, because, again, it's a personal journey. So structural dissociation model on NICABM, there's a really great infographic. The conflicting parts, okay, so can lead to split in the sense of self and dysregulated nervous system. That's why they talk about you or I or anyone who doesn't know how to love ourselves first as people who have a paused fake self. And people who pick up on fake people, some of them are fake themselves, and you'll notice it because they actually have this pain point they drag around. So they want pats on the back for doing anger, sadness, afraid, disgust, surprise, happiness, for doing life with emotions. Okay, so they say, but Maria, we're anointed. Excuse me? No, mystics, they're anointed. We're with God. We feel everything. Yes, we do, because we're all mammals. And we got to get the good end of the stick, because I have a relationship with God who keeps telling me not to judge human suffering and waste of my fucking time. So I think that what you mean to say is that we have a very lucky life, because we're blessed. Because I get to believe, and I can also say, yes, thank you, Sam Harris. All of my cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable. Love you, God. High five. So when people are of faith, you can't break a child of God who has God here, and in the gut, and gets taught self-agency, and then knows what Jesus said, and then knows what God said. I sent you my son to follow him. So anybody else wants to come out and say, I don't know, whatever it is they want. I'm just like, dogma. Apparently they don't know who God is. I'm pretty sure that ain't gonna go well, but hey, you know what? The kingdom of God is within me. I'm gonna mind my own business. God taught me not to play the know-it-all. I'll never forget that one. That was a fun lesson. Oh, I knew it. I got the download immediately. This is for you. And I knew exactly what it was for, because until that moment, I had been very, very much in that teenager black and white thinking. I know everything. So that's actually the karma stuff that Sadhguru, when he explains it to you, if you can't let go of it. And so when people have structural dissociation, it's because their child parts come up. The adaptive child part is usually the teenager who's leading them. Terreal says it's a losing strategy. I just find that it's the brilliance with the destructive mode. So it's really some spiteful 3-year-old. No, it's a 16-year-old who's spiteful. The poor 3-year-old doesn't see the light of day, because as long as they're harboring resentment against their own household, that's why it's an adaptive child part. That's why they don't learn new skills. Self-preserving, so that makes them cold-hearted and selfish, and in a way that they will then point at a person who wants to be different and say, you're selfish because you're breaking away from tradition and values. And it'll be like, you're using a lot of words. I have, you know what, integrity, virtue, and a lot more, because I can commit to my word. I can also not insult you. I can actually take, as you interact with me, with complete unawareness. Oh, it's called biological rudeness. So it's not a competition. Again, you're either going to be emotionally mature, which is why you're going to be here, or you're not, because the people who say there's fake people. The struggling self isn't you. It's a state you get into sometimes. It's a picture you have of yourself. Melanie Greenberg, PhD. What you want to also know is that the ventral energy, it's very, so I'm loving the ventral energy. It's not wine, Sadhguru, but I know why you talked about it that way. I'm an inner adult. That's why I'm the expert on the present. And I'm a functional child adult. That's why my past, yes, I'm an expert of Maria, but I don't project it because I'm not a codependent. And so when I get my boo-boo, I know at 4 years of age, I went crying to mom and it was okay. And in fact, there's lovely Gary Vee. I love you, man. Just because you feel like you missed out on something, there's never a bad time to start doing good shit. You're totally right. Whether that's a business or a hobby or the ability to fix a relationship, I love you, Gary, man. So bottom line, unless you're dead, it's never a bad time. He's awesome. There's never a bad time to start doing shit. Oh, I love it. And he also shared one about, what is it, the too old? You can't get too old for something. Let me read you some more of Gary Vee. He's just amazing. He talks about compassion. He knows of it as a really good business, yes, soft skill that is a hard skill. And you will know when you meet the ones of heart, because their humanity is consistently aware that we all have a body, and so that neuroception, and we all have a mind and a brain, and so we all have a subjective reality. And those 3 subcortical areas, mine is dominated with fear, and then anger doesn't come into the mix because I'm a self agent. So that depth of connection to Maria, self and love, is why I can tell you how great equanimity is, and discernment, and love, and God. And when I hear the ones who are talking shit about, you know, all of us, I just think, hey, God, I told you they still physically hurt children. So I can't be behind anyone who physically hurts children. And emotionally hurting a child will mean physically hurting them too, because the 1 to 22 scale of evil, they're all in, well, prison, and the ones who end up dying, so they all can be helped. The kingdom of God is found, and the ones who think we play with words, no, we learn data. You might not like it, and that's why they say people don't like the facts. You know what, the woman needs to put the baby on the chest. Really, if the woman is dysregulated, that chest is freaking that poor baby out. You must not believe in what attachment, nervous system, something like that. You must not believe in the facts. These are pseudo-intellectuals I make fun of. So when you hear people who pretend to know what they're talking about, you notice that they think they learned everything, and then you say, wait a minute, science knows they don't know everything at all, so you must be one of the fake scientists. Because it's one thing to say we have a bunch of data that's consistently proving, and to respect differences by not making fun too much, in a sense of thinking you're superior. I should use that word. So when I meet a scientist that thinks they're superior to another one, I just think you're a buffoon. But you got golden nuggets, I'm sure. In the meantime, you're arrogant, and you're going to continue being arrogant. I don't need to tell you anything more. You're still contributing to society. But I know the ones who have humility, compassion, are the ones who are going to do an excellent job. They're going to do awesome, way more awesome than that other human being. And that is satisfying, because one, their poor child I feel bad for, but the grown human being who's a teenage version who actually looks at you thinking that they're superior to you with those eyes, my stare is basically nothing more than, and I actually, inside of me, I'm just silent. I learned to practice it because, again, God chimes in, and I'm like, so people think that that means I allow a person to walk all over me. That's because they don't have the emotional mastery of the inner world and a whole self that is, I don't really give two shits about those words that just came out of your mouth. They don't have power. I can't be erased. My confidence. You might make me sad. Yes, that I will be. I will be very sad. You know why? Because bonding. But I'll get over it because I'm alive. I'm not dead. And thank you, God, for the miracle of life, because I may be pro-choice, but I definitely know that I'm a miracle, and so are all my brothers and sisters, and that there's laws. So when people want to bring to me virtue and religion and all that stuff, I'm just thinking, okay, keep talking, because I know who's feeding your ears and who's feeding your heart. Well, there's not really a whole heart there. Because as long as you're thinking that virtue, integrity, and anything respectable is a person's way of thinking in a very small box with a label, hey, that's closed-minded, to say the least. It's amazing how many human beings out there are so closed-minded. I mean, I met them. Again, I've met them. I was a teenager, and I met them. I got to grown adulthood, and I met them. I'm going to tell you a story. In fact, here again, Gary Vee, though, many are missing out on happiness because they choose blame, envy, jealousy, and non-responsibility as their emotional weapons of choice. When you choose accountability, your life gets so much better. And he is completely correct. And the one about compassion, where is it? Let's see if I can find it, because it was a really, really good one. And I read it to you already a couple days ago, I think. But, well, I won't find it. In the meantime, I'm just going to pause. And so here, when someone posts something like this, fake has become so normal that people get offended by honesty. This sounds like the lady who said, people don't like the facts. So you're going to know when you got a person who is convinced that they are genuine, authentic, and transparent and everything, and that another person who disappointed them is not. Or whatever it is. Okay, so this is that part of where you can become as deeply involved in the relationship that you have with yourself in love and spirit and God and Akash and Anima Mundi as you want. And if you don't believe in any of that stuff, but again, it's a mystic show, mystic story tonight. So late IHP show is what I meant to say. Self, truth, and God. Truth is neutrality and duality. Sam Harris brings the truth. Any of your cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable. Do you know how to stand and talk to people and allow yourself to not be a buffoon where you think you're right and you actually are committed to it, and to ease up and remember to be logical? Which is, you don't know everything. You're not always right. And actually, the more you're doing this certainty of anger, the more your brain is shutting down to actually being open to learn new things. So you're in a safety behavior. You're thinking you're better than others. And there you go. I mean, the reality is that's a closed heart. So it's not a Lucifer. It's an idiot. That's it. And it's an arrogant idiot who will grow up to become just like any other emotionally immature person. So when you meet them, I'm not decent enough to be saluted, this person thinks they taught me a lesson in common courtesy. In the meantime, as I know I didn't do anything wrong at all, functional child adult here, women said, you're too serious. Men said, did you say it right? And my mother, the only thing she said was, you didn't tell him you didn't like him in his face? That's not nice. No, Mom. I committed to not speaking to him because you know when I don't want to hang out with someone, what I do. Because that way I don't give mixed signals. In an effort to avoid giving mixed signals, and I really, really do try. And even if I try, because I'm an affectionate human being, that's still, but I won't stop being affectionate because there are those who actually can't understand that, yes, I might be polyamory, doesn't mean I'm going to fuck you. And even if I weren't, the point is when people assume based on, again, movies and just bullshit, I to this day cannot comprehend assuming that somebody likes you just because they're being nice. And that's not only because I'm a woman, I'm saying in general. I just think it's sad because, you know, it's just ridiculous to have this. Anyways, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm happy I'm a grown-up. I had a lot of fun as a kid growing up. That's where flirting, being fun, no big deal. And I'm happy that the teenagers have good therapists out there who are teaching them how to be their self and how to use their nervous system, because that's the fun part of having a deep connection with yourself and then knowing what true love is. Polyamory, in fact, is something that is not understood because of the stigma that those who don't want to move beyond their mindset, though, and their mentality. And then it's all about them thinking that we're all fucked up because of the sex revolution, because of this, because of that. So you'll see people with their themes, and yet nobody seems to be understanding that the common denominator is one of two things. Do you have a body in connection, or do you have a body in protection? Number one. If your body's in protection, I got a structurally dissociated adaptive child. Pretty much I got a teenager in the room. And excuse me, you're confusing science and spirituality. Might not be considered by the technical verbiage. Structurally dissociated, no, I'm not. I know what I'm doing. And really, it's not that, because we can all chime in and have fun. The point is, you just corrected me because you think you know something that I don't know. And I'm not in school, so there's no need for you to correct me. That's how very literal. Social time means I'm socializing. I never understood what people are doing with proving points. Go to school. Do a research paper, please. Go be serious. You're out here. What do you want? Oh, you think I'm going to take your data seriously? You think I'm going to take your opinion seriously? I'm going to take your opinion for what it is. It's your opinion. And that is what pisses the fuck off of those who aren't confident. Because the only time you need somebody to pat you on the back is when you're trying to tell me something that you think is the truth, and I'm thinking it's your truth and not mine, because I'm a differentiated 3-year-old, which is the exact reason why I said, you can't spank me, it's in my body. And she's a complete 3-year-old, but she's got a grown up. And that's why God chimes in every now and then, reminding me of all this beautiful wisdom. And with our lovely new moon, and with all the ascension energies that came prior to it, it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool to see how God gets to keep being a part of our equation, divinity, consciousness, spirituality, whatever words you use. But for the oversoul, it's sad to see the 4D, 3D continue to commit to that, but I got it. I understood that they would be there because of the timeline. I also know that the individuals who want to take care of themselves will be able to get that integrated brain going on and, heal the childhood trauma and become an inner adult and have fun with all of us. So in the meantime, we get to grow our community, and the paid subscribers are what will continue to build a community with us, because, between workshops, retreats, and building like-minded with spiritual, personal, and science and spirituality in a very flexible way. Nobody's going to say you have to follow the books from yesterday's news. So when we're talking about books and we're talking about scripture, when we're talking about anything, it's in a way of being curious. When we're bringing in science to contemplate it, it's in a way of being curious. We don't negate yesterday's science because we will think that we'll be curious. So curiosity is what the adolescent essence carries with the grown-ups. Essential spark, social engagement, novelty, creative expression. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. So it's the integrated brain that is the intelligent brain and the intelligent mind, because you're also an intelligent heart. And the more you are in your ventral vagal state, so the body of yours is in connection, the more you are energized and invigorated, because your self is whole. My sense of self, you can't touch it. You can't erode my confidence. Again, you might hurt my feelings. No, I'll be sad. The day I'll be sad is a very good day, because I'll be able to process it. Then I'll also know what you're made of, because the minute that someone can be sad because of something that we will have shared, and again, there's lack of complete compassion and humanity and all of that, which is why there's a difference between professionals and entrepreneurs and business owners and just people out there all over the place. The difference is that the brothers and sisters of 5D are like that Good Samaritan in the story, that lovely lady from let me go find it, How to Be a More Loving Person in 3 Steps on Big Think. And she shares Aristotle's quote, when you really love a friend, you experience that person as a second self. And when you're differentiated self, that's actually beautiful, because you will experience that person as yourself, which means you'll always treat them with the same authenticity and honesty and transparency, which doesn't get boring, by the way, because just because somebody will break my heart, again, a teenager continues to put things, and I'm saying teenager because the fight response, 16-year-old, the structurally dissociated, the adaptive child, the ones who don't know how to go beyond their ego. It is a very small energy. As soon as they begin to play this little sword fight, it's small, because it's this. We're not doing that. But that's because I'm open-hearted and I'm able to be vulnerable, which means I'm also able to understand we can have splinters, we can have ruptures, but really that's not going to be that way for me, because I'm used to being able to say I accept, love, and respect all just the way they are, because I love and accept and respect me for how I am. I'm unconditionally loving with flaws and imperfections. That lovely book that is on hold, like the Inner Growth Mindset book over there, ready to get moving whenever the time is. But I consistently will do what I got taught because it feels right as a child to unconditionally love my brothers and sisters. That's never felt wrong. What felt wrong was when, as a teenager, I did do the, I remember the feeling. It's an explicit memory. I hurt someone's feelings. I don't remember what I said. I just looked in their eyes. I'm like, I know I hurt your feelings. I can see it. No, you didn't. Yes, I did, but it's okay. I'm going to leave now because you won't admit it. But I said, I'm sorry, God. It didn't feel that good at all. But, you know, they were being an asshole. I don't know. I didn't curse at the time. But, and, you know, the last time this actual thing took place in the very exact energy of what it is when we're doing something like that was in a dream. And 2 seconds, not even, it was like a fraction of one, that second, that out of my mouth, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, you know, and the person was like, no, I deserved it. And I'm like, no, it doesn't, nothing deserves this. It's really about, so here's where, if you went to the Enneagram, I'm a moral perfectionist. So they would say that it's because I want to maintain my self-image. I love all these smart people, but it's like, not really. It actually feels crappy to be a person who's in a crappy interaction, because your body speaks with your words. So it's not about negating the emotion. It's about, I will not be allowing myself to endorse the behavior. Okay, hold on. I'm going to find, there's a really good quote for this one. Here he is. So Ron Siegel, Psych D. When we are talking about acceptance, it is very important to talk about the difference between accepting experience as it is arising in our own body and endorsing a certain kind of behavior. So for me, I'm happy to be aware, accountable, regulating in my ventral vagal state, because one, that is what restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating people who put the inner growth mindset into practice want. That's why you deepen the connection to yourself, to God, for those of us of spirit, Akash, source, anima mundi, and to those who believe dark matter, dark energy, it's yourself, because consciousness and you. And that's the part of why I'm the woo-woo pseudoscience lady. But I also laugh because, yeah, I'll admit it, and the scientists who are smart scientists will admit it too. So when you meet curious, open-minded, curious, open, accepting, and loving, smart human beings, they're not playing sword fights. Those sword fights, that's why they give us golden nuggets. The minute I have any person who's an emotionally immature human being, I'm already recalibrated, because their body is off. Their body's off-putting. They're in a protective mode. And even though I have fun, excuse me, you're confusing science, spirituality, that's because I'm curious about my brother and sister, because I'm not insecure. I don't have envy, jealousy, spite, insecurity. I don't actually get into a lack of confidence because you interrupt me. If I am ever in a arena of that, it's usually because I'm trying to share something and I don't know how to share it with someone, and they're making it their mission to basically not help me to finish it up. And in fact, when those moments have happened, I've learned in time to say, don't. It's not worth it, because at the end of the day, while I can respect and accept differences with spirit, source, science, all of it, it's very clear when there are plenty of people who just talk over you. So they don't mindfully listen. They don't even care to, because they're already ready to prove their point. And it's really humorous, because I'm thinking, go to school if you want to prove shit. That's what academia is for. Other than that, why are you socializing with a small ass ego? Oh, there's the relationship soul age group. Excuse me, I forgot. I'm in the enlightenment and the societal soul age group. So they continue to prove their self to each other and work on expanding their self. But also there are those different soul age groups. So I do want to remind you that there's reasons, although, I mean, I'm going to say they can still go and get their inner child reparented, become a functional child adult, and expand. They'd feel a lot better. Then they'd have a lot more fun, and they'd also meet more intelligent people. But Robert Sapolsky determined, come on in, he says we have no free will, so there you go. I mean, really, it's not that. To me, it's where are you tuning in, and what are you, again, endorsing as your modality of getting into conversations, and what are you also endorsing in your brain, thinking you know everything once you're done reading, what, 20 books, 100, 500, how many, 1,000? Which subject matter are you an expert in? Do you think you're done learning? Really? So this is why it's so clear. It's as clear as night and day. Having fun, entertainment, education, which is what we also get to do, is one thing. But when you're seeing these podcast hosts, man, okay, I'm going to leave it alone. How dedicated we are to the basic choices that we have made in our lives is how our lives unfold. Yes. Sadhguru. When you have utter clarity about where you are at right now, the next level of experience will reveal itself to you. That's correct. Every time you move into more of your Dharma, you'll know it. And it's amazing. With enough attention, just about anything can be mastered. Yes, thank you, Sadhguru. And so self-mastery, that's with your prefrontal cortex, not with your half of brain on, with your prefrontal and not you in a body in protection. And as this lovely Don Martel says, I don't know him, but the most dangerous person in your life is the one who makes you feel comfortable with mediocrity. People don't like those of us who have compassion and a higher self and our ventral energy on, because that is exactly what will come up, will be that mediocrity. You know why? It's not because a teenager is mediocre. No, it's your child parts, your wounds, whatever it is that's coming up. You can learn to use your nervous system and your brain better. And you can integrate it and you can heal it. And we don't need to be walking around with people who think that they need to justify and allow trauma to stay. No, we can walk around, understand if we meet an emotionally mature person that they're going to be one of those Cuscos and have a good time. And then we're going to know that we're going to keep teaching and learning and exchanging, because the 5D collective ain't dying. We're the intelligent ones. The ones who actually don't understand what they're missing out on. Again, I feel bad for their inner child, not for the teenager. The teenager version of them is no longer even a teenager. It's an actual asshole adult who really is a buffoon, because like my facade friend, as I'm yelling in his face, he's a buffoon because he gave up on himself. And why? Because he didn't actually think that he needed therapy. And I don't think I need it either. But you know the difference is I believe in myself. And I don't actually love Maria any less. And when someone said, I thought you would change, I'm like, what? Excuse me. One of the first things I told you is I know what I'm doing. I don't change. Yeah, I know, but yeah, no. This is confusing now. So... And then when I got someone else told me the change thing too, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to try and explain myself again, because this is getting ridiculous. And now that I'm attachment trauma educated, I just know that's the whole point. I got a good relationship with my sense of self. So I got words and people are like, ha ha ha, you know. So when people don't enjoy a level of confidence with smiles, they just keep thinking, who knows what's hiding. At the end of the day, the panic attacks, I mean, I said, yeah, I have freeze responses, I'm sure. I mean, trauma charges, we all had them build up. I have the ability to tend to all of mine, and I'm having a good time. And as a mystic, I also knew my light body was expanding. So your light body, yes, I had 2 Kundalini awakenings, and I have 3 twin flames, and then I have soulmates, and I got a bunch more stories that are really fun. And when I saw what they did with the twin flames, I knew what was happening, because I knew what theme it was. And I knew because of the timeline. So again, once our paid subscribers begin to build, as I've been sharing with you, we also have some of that, which is our mystic chit chat. And when YouTube opens us up to membership, that will be it too. It might be live, or I will figure it out. But I want us to talk about the ascension energies, what's happening, because you continue to expand. And your oversoul, nobody loses touch with anyone. The reality is, emotionally mature people are friends with a bunch of people. If I don't want to be your friend, I won't engage. I won't give you mixed messages. I won't. And here's where, with the polyamory community, securely attached polyamory people don't do any of that, which would basically create suffering. And that's why, thanks Jessica Fern for the book, Poly Secure and Poly Wise. Hopefully they all come to you, because I don't think that it's the polyamory community that creates secure attachment anything. It's a person who notices that compersion is what love means. Means whether you're polyamory or monoamory, I'm going to want you to be happy independently of if I'm in your life or not, because I want you to be happy. Doesn't anybody understand what happiness means? No, whenever I think of people who cannot fathom the Good Samaritan from the Jesus story in real life, Patrick Tian, they need you, man. They really need you, because at least you're honest. You don't have to forgive anyone. I know why. he's building real men and girls and days and people who are healing, because they don't go to Boca Raton and they don't need to forgive anyone for having been basically denied a happy home, and above all denied the capacity to love their own self and to build good relationships with people and their brain, by the way, their mind. So whenever I hear monsters out in the sky, I just know, wow, really? El Dorado, what's up? Mental warfare. Yeah, no, not here. I've had people in my sphere, and at a certain point, I said, get the fuck out of my sphere. You are all doing the same shit over and over and over again. It was like, I don't know if it was the third, fourth, or fifth year, but because our themes are, they're a cycle, at a certain point, there's a bunch of different of my oversoul members that are completely repeating the same. It's like a donkey on a wheelhouse. And as I perceive them, I was like, I look like a whack job, just gonna send you out of my sphere. And then I asked Dr. Daniel Siegel about when I'm in environments, and he said, Maria, I think you need to differentiate more. I said, I got it, Dr. Dan. So at the end of the day, we don't say, I scan a room and I stay at home. No, my panic attacks and my IBS, I did what I could to work with Maria, and I did, and I continued, and now I have my sweet spot. And I have a friend of mine that I got to share with him, because he has the same way of responding to when they give us surprises and they want us to go places. And people, this is the part of where you know when someone's judging you because they find it stupid what you do, and instead of just not judging it stupid but allowing themselves to know, I don't experience it. But again, you can't force people to be welcoming with the child-centric environment inside their bodies to differences. This is the part of why those who are cold as ice, that 16-year-old has a rigid format because they don't have the rainbow. And they probably got their 3-year-old little, we all have like this little narcissistic bubble, as Ron Siegel, and it's basically where your ego, if it gets broken in a certain way, that's where you will feel that people who are creative like me, you're stupid because somebody actually interrupted you while you were playing Superman, the example that was given. You're a stupid idiot, stop it. And so there's this remembrance, and you're stupid too, which is why it's part of a structurally dissociated. And this, I'm using words my way. Remember, I can fuck up the data. Don't write no notes down, because that's not what I do here. I'm just making sure I'm pseudoscience woo lady. And I'm using how I'm understanding the information, so I don't want it to be, and I know people like, Gabor Mate said the gut doesn't work. Yeah, we know what Gabor, why are you interrupting class time? Like, why? Create your own classes, people. Every time I have some people interrupting class time, I'm like, I'm trying to learn from the experts, and you're interrupting, and it's valuable time. We don't have that much time with them. So, what I was trying to say is, I don't take it personally when I have people who have ways of thinking that this is stupid. I just understand that I'm so sorry that your 3-year-old doesn't get to come out and play. Mine, she's all over the place, so it's okay. But yeah, so my friend, as we were talking about, the way that we organize ourselves when we're doing anything, it was spot on, like the exact same way I will plan if I need to go on a road trip, if I'm going somewhere, what I will eat, what I won't eat. So that's how it begins. Now I'm very much, thank you, therapy in a nutshell lady, or nutshell therapy or whatever. She has a good, hold on, I need some water. She has a very good video for panic attacks. So again, it's very sensitive. We all want our brothers and sisters to deepen the connection to self and love, but they have to choose it. So if they do spiritual and or personal growth, they will do it once they're done with a Patrick Tian and or Terreal. And at the end of the day, when I meet those who don't, I feel bad and sad for their child part, not for the person. The human being who's a grown human being, the way they're treating me is with, contempt, grandiosity. They're basically, again, the brilliant buffoon who is destructive. So I'm not having an interaction with what is the actual genuine person. I have a distorted self that is built with a persona that protected all of the child parts, the 0-1 attached panicking, the 3-7 shame submissive, freeze of all ages, the flight 11-12, and the fight 14-15-16. So I have a person who was treated in ways that they are not choosing to acknowledge. And so their subconscious comes up, and that's why the structural dissociation and the playing out their karma on a wheelhouse and their completely dehumanizing people the way that, has been done before. It's very easy for me to say, I don't care about the person that is in another country, and I don't care about a person who's in the other house. That's why the whole Good Samaritan. That's why, again, being self-preserving is a very clear indication of how you are keeping only yourself safe. When you are a person who welcomes all, and you understand that we don't have infinite resources, okay? So this is why there's two households I'm going to present to you, and these are real life households. In one, we have a set of parental figures that have their children fight for food. They're poor. In another, we have a set of household figures who say, we are sharing the one little pea or the one little whatever. These children are going to have compassion, and they're going to be people who are able to share with all. These people are going to think they're badass by being reactive in their 3-year-old and their teenager, and they're half a brain. And I'm just letting you know the explanation is basically they're actually not going to be better off. They may get what they want. That CIA agent who told us, people keep secrets, we need to keep more. So he's helping people to actually be in this modality of people are selfish. That's why they're going to put the mask on first on the airplane, right? There's people who follow this person. I see as they get interviewed, they got a very unique look, and I'm like, yeah, I know who's following you. Same people who think they're more brilliant than the other ones of us. They're not more brilliant, because what we will know is that they're holding on to this specific frequency as I'm going to bring it in. And really what I should allow you to understand is that's why with Robert Sapolsky, he says no free will. With God, you do have free will. The minute that you're interacting with any other human being, you will be given the free will choice of how to behave. But as Robert Sapolsky with Determined points out, your first 3 years of life matter. So when I meet a stingy human being that is cold as ice, I know that shit went down. I ain't going to shame them, because I'm not their mama, I ain't their papa, I ain't their anything, and I ain't God. And above all, I'm standing as Maria, who wants to be loving, kind, equanimous, and no, not good. I said, yes, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and God, I will forgive. Why would I treat you like a piece of shit when I want to be treated kindly? Why would I lie to you? Why would I do anything that I would not done unto me? It's a very straightforward equation. So the minute people don't remember, how would I want to be treated at the level of my heart? You don't have a solo self that you can share. You don't have space for another person because you're selfish, in a way of a child who needs Patrick Tiahan, and in a way that a teenager will justify even the most toxic relationship, and then they will actually think and feel that they've been betrayed the umpth time by crappy human beings. And all I can think is, wow, 2025. 20 years, huh? Yeah, that's a long time. I've been talking sense to them this is not just one person, by the way. Oh, there's a bountiful of people that I just watch daily, as I say, if only enlightenment, yeah, emotions, they really don't want that mastery. They say yes to mediocrity, because saying that people like fake people, that's not true. And saying that people are fake without acknowledging that everyone can be a fake when they're half a self, because they're not their actual self, because they don't have the level of vulnerability that, again, so being yourself, join us here. We get to be our true selves, flawed with integrity, and we understand those who do not want compassion, they don't have to, because we're not in a competition. We go vote, there's laws. This whole thing of thinking that the world is going to come to an end, anyone not know God, again, I come with God. I mean, really, dark matter, dark energy, don't implode. So if you're going to have real talk, anyone grounded in reality, cherishable beliefs can be falsifiable, spiritual, personal, all comes together. Oh, the flow state, amazing. Selfish, sword, yeah, you come near me and plug my nose. No, I won't let you. I'll be out that door immediately, and I won't harm you unless I'm physically unsafe. And then really, I hope not to be, but this is the equations people bring, people who are like me. So then I think, again, of Michael Stone's scale, I'm like, yeah, they all end up in prison, except for, who was it? Yeah, the 7 to 14. Charming. Wow, that's how smart you are. You're fooled by charming people. It's pretty much a buffoon to me. That's my intelligence in the sense of Maria loves to learn things. I love knowledge, and I do come with that, which is, so pure consciousness, Purusha, pure energy, Prakriti. That's when you're connected to source. And this, I got it from a beautiful, smart lady who has a type of AA program to help people with addictions, which at one point I hope to get. And the ones who are cut off from Purusha Prakriti, those are all the people who could go to therapy and get connected back on, is how I'm going to bring it to you. So they are going to be monkey brains, donkey brains, butterfly brains, apparently. Then there's also enamored with themselves and one focused. And I've spotted all 5 of them. So besides the soul age groups, I can tell you when I spot these, I think, hey, wait, Patrick Chan, come on over. What were those childhood personality types that you told me about that can be healed? The doomsdayer, the doer, the what, the ghost, the are we good, and what else? Well, I forget the 5th one, but there is a 5th. There it is, the hostile. Oh, so this is not something I'm meaning to make fun of. There's a bunch of people. I'm a healer. How dare you trauma dump? You're a what? Come again? You're not a healer. You're a person who just got into your hissy fit. I mean, venting or sharing, okay, sure, but you could lead by being an example for others, and you're not healing them, by the way. They heal themselves. So it's a collective again of, we don't take ownership of your journey, because we do know God, source, Akash, Anima Mundi, consciousness. You're your own speck, and it's one frequency. I will get to be the one who chooses for myself how I'm going to interact with you. And because I will already know intuitively that I've come here to be embodying unconditional love, I will intuitively know this. 5D, mystic, spiritual, self-help, mindful, living, loving human being, and personal self-help. So when I meet the mystics and the enlightened not ones, and the others who continue with this, some of us are more special, some of us have been chosen. Flat earthers, you having a good time patting each other on the back? Number 1, because really, again, God, source, we're all part of it. We have one of 2 ways this is going to go. You're going to expand consciousness, and that's, thank you Patrick McNamara, decentralizing of the self happens. You expand because you don't become more rigid or chaotic. No, you learn, and the trauma therapist will talk about it as post-traumatic growth, so some people will call it that, but that's because you have a whole self. Again, I only know a whole self. That's why none of my experiences are post-traumatic to me. But you better let people, oh, you polyamory because you're traumatized? No. You got twin flames though? Yeah. I don't actually have owner that can do, I don't know, like, why can't you work with the thoughts? I'm confused. You come from a special star. When I heard what they began to talk about with this obsessive thinking and all of that, which is basically me picking up, where are you, Aristotle? Hold on. The part about treating a person like it's your second self. This is what somebody who doesn't have clairs won't know. When you really love a friend, you experience that person as a second self. Okay, all I can tell you is it's not a second self. You are tapped in, and it is by far... I'm now way past all of the things, but I remember at a certain point, I'm like, wow, this is fucked up. This bullshit. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious as I finally was realizing every time I pick, this is fucking bullshit. So you pick up on things that are not yours. It's so funny. Oh, I love it though. I love being able to tell you all I wasn't being controlled. There's no obsessive thinking. I'm picking up. You're in my sphere. You're like on me. It's like a finger that they cut off, but you still got the finger. And you know, this is the other part when people say, I thought you were, kind of crazy when you told me about the twin flame stuff, but now I understand because I got one. Oh, you do understand now? Oh, I'm so happy. So this is the other thing about people that didn't believe, and there's still those who don't believe, but it's okay. We don't need to be believed in. So come on over and join us. Enlightenment is emotional mastery, and saying no to mediocrity as a mindset and a lifestyle is what you get to do with the IHP IG mindset, the paid subscriber based model content. Again, the link is below, and also over here you get to hear about stories and more. And you know what I love is that I am very proud of Maria, and I do feel like, should you? But I'm pretty sure Jesus is proud of me too. Buddha makes fun of me because I make fun of him, and even if I don't have to use that word, I'm just gonna say I am proud of myself because I know that I've committed to treat people the way I want to be treated. I'm gonna say that feels really good, and I'm sad for the brothers and sisters who don't know how to do it because they didn't get a good start. And I'm sad that there's people who actually believe a person who says lack of imagination for evil. Another person who says the data proves narcissists aren't healable when that's not true. And there's Kylie who's healing. We all have personality patterns, temperament, and attachment. So I don't enjoy seeing people who believe a woman who says it's the women that need to tend to the children because it's putting the child on their chest. And, and they don't like the facts. They can't work, Really, I think, again, you're ignoring the neuroception, lady, because I don't need a child on a chest that is on a body that doesn't know how to be in their ventral vagal state. So you must be the one who says, he hasn't proven it yet, Stephen Porges. Or a man playing Russian roulette as he wants to tell me he's a good father, and he is actively, instead, ancient history. One satisfaction as a mystic, I will tell you, God is discerning equanimous love. So the minute that a person makes a choice point of closing that heart, of ignoring what they're doing, it will come back. It will come back. And when that happens, no person like myself doesn't say, no, you actually feel very sad, and you will very much do the same thing, because no one's looking for rewards. If you want to talk to me about God and being a mystic and spiritual, I will still reach out my hand and build that bridge, because I don't pretend to follow God and to pray. I know when God sends me something that it's to help, and that my physical life is not threatened, because that's how good my gut is. Yes, the only people who continue to talk to you about energy vampires, dark auras, and any type of empaths only attract narcissists. You need to meet. We'll talk more about it. But yeah, there's people who create groups like that. Our group is Inspiring Human Potential. We're mystic, spiritual, and mindful, living, loving people. We do take healing trauma completely seriously, which is why I don't have it. And when my trauma charges do come up, or trauma, it's my mother. I got my 3-year-old or my twin. It's done. Other than that, I'm pretty good, and I like to master Maria. So whenever I notice my nervous system, because the panic attacks gave me practice, it's an opportunity. It's not even a challenge. It's like, wow, let's see how much I can bring forth of the depths of me in this moment. And then I like feedback, so I like interaction with people, and that's why the 5D collective will grow more and more here, because compassion is awesome. And so is being able to know the Good Samaritan and not talk about it that way. By the way, again, when you really love anyone, you experience them as a second self. And when you love the entirety of humanity, you will experience loving all people, and you will do whatever you can, I know I do, to create a world that is sustainable for all 8 billion and growing, because I don't believe we have to be stingy with anything. I don't believe it's utopistic to believe that we can have a world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are children and people dying if you care enough for the living, and I believe in God. So I'm not science, I'm a pseudoscience. I believe in angels, every single one. And when we are sent anywhere, it will always be with healthy self-worth. So again, remember to be saluted. I'm sure he thinks I'm an asshole, I'm a bitch, and I'm rude. I don't think any of that. But you can't make anyone go to therapy. So again, he has a wife. He's a published poet. He pretty much thinks he's monoamory, and he made sure his vows. I mean, again, where is your wife? We never see her. I mean, I'm just saying, there's more than just one story. So, we don't need to spot the hypocrites. My facade friend called me a hypocrite because I say this and that are true. Enlightenment, so age group and intelligent ones don't actually have any kind of end game with as much we can learn. We keep learning and sharing and having a good time. And professionals who care about what they do a really thorough and great job. I just had one that did exactly as I do as a self-help, personal development, spiritual, and marketer. Because as an online marketer in both arenas, I give all that I can, and I'm always doing my best to get more information, so that I can become better and better as a person and as somebody who's supporting people to grow. And again, even with the marketing, that's all very applicable. But I had an experience, and more than just one, and then I'll let you go soon. But when people are professionals who don't, how am I going to break it down? They're doing what they're doing because they're going to describe to you what they look like. And they're making mommy and daddy proud. And they got money, or whatever it is that they think. They don't really participate to caring about what they're providing, okay? So you'll notice it, and you know what will make you notice it? They're going to use fear tactics. And I will save that for some other time. But I am not a fool. And so the minute that I am noticing something that is basically you are trying to make money off of me and you're objectifying what is a relationship, you're taking the entire human element out and you're actually talking in an inconsistent, because the reason the adoptive child part is so clear to me is because they will say one thing and then another, like my facade friend, and they won't notice it. I know that I try to hear what I say and bring forth a discourse, and I may be using words wrong, but I know what I'm trying to say. So I won't stop because I know what I'm bringing. And then when people begin to not enjoy it necessarily, that's where I begin to say, okay, you know what, never mind. Let's leave it alone, because we're not going to be moving forward with this, because I've done my best to speak about it the way that I know how to. It's still not. So you don't take offense, because again, I have met people, they're resonating with me too. They're like, yeah, I guess some people don't think this way. They have a hard time. And I'm like, yeah, some people, it's better just for us not to communicate, because why would we piss anyone off? It's social time. So yeah, but professionals who care, they know their shit. And what they also care is about sustainability, affordability, about being able to give you the best that they can, about allowing themselves to lead you to what you can do for yourself, and more. So we'll be back again with more. I hope you enjoyed our late IHP show, a little bit longer than usual. However, I enjoyed sharing with you all. And again, paid subscription link below. Share with others who you do know are self-agents, and they are of our 5D collective, mystic, spiritual, mindful, so they know building fair and just societies. It's thanks to mental and emotional mastery, and that's your physical mastery. So neuroception, the body is in connection, and your compassion is through every pore. And your calm and your discernment is why people think in a way of, you should stand up for yourself. We don't get angry. My Kali has Shiva. I'm nothingness. And then I have Krishna Lila. I get curious. Really what it is I will choose how to use my breath, and I will not be using it in a place of someone who's clearly in their ego and not in their, I think I heard the term spirit mind is what someone mentioned, or soul mind. So I'm going to say ego left, with the self right, and with just all of you, and a person who's consciously aware. So some people are their whole self and they don't believe in God. So I'm going to say for us, it could be spirit mind, but ego, self together. Integrated brains. It's really fun, and we do know all people are like our second selves, and that's why we don't judge. We don't cast characterological distinctions or stones. We allow ourselves to be understanding as functioning child adults that trauma affects all people. So we're not giving anybody a green pass. In fact, that's a whole different story, or a red pass. We're saying if there's physical safety, we don't need to be behaving in a way that is unnecessary. Our body doesn't need to get in protection. And so we can continue to interact. Oh, also firmness does have a way that they will understand. No. It's no. And they will understand that there's no way they can get around it. When you have a sense of self, no one can get around what you've decided, because that's the part you won't budge, which is also why they'll think you're hard-headed. It's like, yeah, I'm hard-headed for what I want, but I'm open to a lot of other things. Again, have a good one. Thanks for stopping by.